heart and flow. Morning mind dump with Trie, let's go.
Good morning, my beautiful souls. It's Trie from Morning Mind Dump. Welcome. It's been over a month, I think, that the last time that I did a podcast episode. So thank you for your patience if you have been waiting for a new episode. Don't forget I do have like 130 something episodes prior. Some are pretty long. Feel free to listen to those, don't forget. And again, thank you for listening. If you're listening now, if this is your first time. Today, I wanted to dig into something that's on my heart because I've been experiencing when people hold on to old versions of you. It happens to all of us, family, friends, coworkers, they lock into the version of you that they used to know, that you used to be. And the tricky part is sometimes, we've outgrown that person. Sometimes we feel a stranger to ourselves or to them, right? So let's talk about that today. Let's talk about growth, authenticity, what happens when people don't recognize you, the version of you today. So here's what I've been learning. Once people think they know you, they hold on to that version like a photograph. They take a picture of you, and that's it. That's what they see. It's never updated. And if you're not doing much inner work, then that snapshot is still going to fit, right? They take the picture, there you are, that's it. But if you are healing and growing and learning to a better version of yourself, then that snapshot is outdated, So here's another truth. If you're not genuine with yourself or with others, then that's the version that they're ever going to see. A lot of us put on a mask, pretend like we're okay, and we're not, Most people say, oh, how you been? They're like, great. Really, like, tons of shit has happened, and either they don't want to get into it, or, sometimes you just don't want to talk about it. Or, not everybody needs to know. I tend to talk about it because I don't care. Like, that's why I have this podcast, so I can just vent and get it out. And yeah. And by the way, I'm at Rocky Neck State Park in Connecticut. I love this park, and it's so beautiful today. It's just like nice cool breeze. Off season, it's my favorite time to come here. And that's just a little side note. Yes, the outdated versions of ourselves. You gotta be true and genuine to yourself. And a lot of people don't know the real us because we don't show them the real us. Or sometimes we don't even know the real us because we don't show the real us because we don't know the real us ourselves. Not unless you do the inner work. That's why authenticity matters, right? Because otherwise, you end up living as a character in somebody else's story and not the author of your own. Think for a second, are the people around you really seeing the true version of you? Do you let them see the real you, or do you just pretend? Some people pretend to be all bubbly, but really, when they go home, they feel like that's what people need to see because it depends on my day. Some days I'm super bubbly and happy, and other days life stresses me and things consume me and I overthink. And it's funny, people have said that to me, that I overthink, and it used to trigger me. Now I kind of laugh at it because, maybe not laugh at it, but that's just part of me, right? I like to, I don't know, think of solutions or other perspectives. So if that's overthinking, then I accept that. I embrace it, and that's who I am. And what I don't like is when somebody says I overthink and they're trying to diminish my feelings of what is going on. Like if I'm upset about something and I say, I'm just trying to do this and da, 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 and they're like, oh, you're just overthinking. That's dismissive, and that's not okay. And I'm not going to allow that to happen to me anymore. I will not allow anybody to do that. Anyway, that's not what the episode is about today, but don't let anybody diminish your feelings. Okay? My little tip for the day. Yeah, so, like, I've been going on this journey, right? And, like, I don't even know myself. Or I didn't know myself. I feel pretty confident. I know who I am right now because I've been going on this self-discovery journey. If I don't tell people what I've learned about myself and what I want and what I need, then they're not going to know, right? Because, well, they say we all have ESP and, like, psychic abilities, but not everybody knows how to use it. So that's why you got to tell people. So yeah, I'm definitely not the same person I was as a kid. I'm not the same person I was in high school. Not the same person I was when I was even married 5 years ago. Like, I feel like even the past 5-6 months, I'm a different version of myself because I've come across, well, I've lived, right? I've met people have come into my life, challenged me in certain ways, and I've learned lessons. And so, yeah, just I have a different perspective even just from a few months ago. Yeah, of course, there's old traces of me. Hopefully, the good parts stayed, and not the bad parts. But I'm constantly striving to better myself, right? Mostly for myself, but by doing that, I'm also bettering myself for other people. Because that means that I can, and if I learn to communicate my needs and wants and whatnot, then, or just like tell them who I am and what I like and stuff like that, then they're gonna know, right? So, but I gotta figure it out myself first. I don't need validation from other people. I definitely don't need people telling me how I am, which that's kind of the catalyst of this episode is that recently I was portrayed as something I definitely don't subscribe to. And luckily, I'm in this discovery stage where I don't feel like I need to convince them who I am. If they can't see my genuineness, then I don't want them in my circle, my bubble, in my universe, my world. You know, I don't need people to question me of who I am. I don't need people to question who I am because I'm constantly upgrading. Like you wouldn't use an outdated software from 2015 and use it now in 2025. You know, it's not going to work, or it's going to be slow or broken. Keep scrolling, right? I don't want to keep spiraling. No spiraling, not anymore. Yeah, so that brings me to friendships. Is I used to get together with my best friend from high school. Every time we met up, it was fun, right? We talked about the old days and how fun we were, you know. And she had kids, and she was married too, but she was still married. You know, she had a kid. She got married. I got married. No kids. Completely different lives, right? We led, and we didn't have like school in common anymore. But I think she was my best friend because we had so many things that we liked differently. It was not a lot of things that we liked, I think. And that's why I liked that. I liked having a different perspective, and I never like really thought about why I really enjoyed her company. Plus she was, because I was so quiet and she was very forthright, I'll say. And she always had a really good comeback. And I admired that. And I told her recently, I did message her recently, and I told her because, and I don't know if she's listening today, but um, if you want. Because actually, you know, watching her get along, like, I was like, yeah, I want to be more confident in my words, right? But I wasn't. I was very timid, shy, and she actually spoke up for me. But we never talked about anything recent, right? Like, so I don't know much about her now or like what has happened other than she had a child and she was married. When I would try to gear the conversation into like new stuff, but we just kept going back in. So I got a little disappointed at the conversation, and I didn't feel fulfilled at the end of our little get together. That like they just slowly we stopped. I think it was me meeting up again, not because I don't like her. I love her. I miss her. I think about her all the time. But like people just grow apart, right? And then, I think so. My point is, she knows the version of me from before, right? And so I am very, very different now. You literally, and I bet there are many people that if you're watching this and you knew me from before, I'd like to know. Am I? I think I'm different, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just like delusional. It's a possibility. It happens. When you drift apart from people, it's okay. It's like you don't have to get in an argument to not be friends with somebody anymore. And you don't have to have a reason. Like, I don't know who made a rule that said once you start talking to somebody that you have to talk to them all the time for the rest of your life. Like you're now bonded. I think it's because some people just get more attached than other people. Now this is my intro to, have you ever had a friendship or relationship where you realize both of you are holding on to the old version of who you were instead of connecting of who you are today? I would like to know. You can put it in the comments below. And also, at this time, again, I would like to say thank you for listening. If you're still listening, I appreciate you. Just a little, I do feel guided to do this. This is not like me, oh, I need attention. This is me doing this to, one, because I overthink, right? I have all these thoughts in my head, and my perspective doesn't mean that it's the right perspective. I'm not saying that. But I do have a different perspective than most people. So sometimes somebody needs to hear that side, right? Because we get all up in our own ego. And that's why I want people to comment, because like I always say, tell me if there's a different perspective, you know? And I encourage that kind of conversation. Not a debate of like who's right and who's wrong. That's not what I want. I want honest conversation, because like I said, maybe you have a valid point, and maybe, okay, the next time a situation comes up, then I might think of it differently. And so now I have a new belief, right? I believe that beliefs can change. Some people are just like, these are my beliefs, this is what I was taught, this is what I think, and that's it. But I'm constantly evolving and trying to understand other people. Comment below and like, share, subscribe, and share with your friends, share with somebody who you think needs to hear whatever I have to say. And I appreciate it. So, yeah. Now the takeaway. The truth is, not all distance is a loss. If someone only sees the version of you that they have taken a snapshot of, it doesn't mean that you failed. It just means they stopped updating the software that they have. You gotta update your own software, but you have to make sure that other people are doing the same update, right? But they're not gonna know unless you like tell them that you've updated. Sometimes people can just see, they do automatic updates. If you're still evolving and healing and still becoming, sometimes they won't recognize you and they won't accept it, and that's okay too. So, but maybe that's not a bad thing. That just means that they're not on the same energy wavelength as you, or I like to call it radio station. They're not on the same radio station, and that's okay. Again, we still are in the same radio, just not the same station. I don't know. So what I learned is growth doesn't, you have to be understood by everybody. You're doing it for yourself, not for other people. Quote of the day. Tree of wisdom, if you will. This is my quote. Who are you becoming is far more important than who you used to be. Not all distance is a loss, and sometimes it's a space for growth. And the truest version of you deserves to be seen. Today's poll question: think about the people in your life. Do they know who you are today? Or are they holding on to an old version? Do you think they still see the old you? Or do they support the new version of you? Or are you just still figuring it out? You have no idea? And you know what? I think the fourth option is sometimes you just don't even care. Like, it doesn't matter. Not that you don't care, but like it's not unimportant, right? So here is my challenge for you today: is to be genuine. Just be genuine. Like, then you don't have to pretend to be somebody else. They always know who you are because you're gonna show up the same way every single time, right? This starts within you first, and then others. Because if you don't show up authentically, they'll only see the surface version of you. That's not fulfilling. I think that's when things get complicated, and it creates conflict. Because, like, what version of am I going to get of that person today? I've actually, yeah. So, I won't go there this time. But anyway, the you of today deserves to be seen, loved, and celebrated. And if somebody can't see that, then that's okay. You just can keep growing for yourself, right? Thank you for tuning in to Morning Mind Dump with Trie. This is if this episode resonated with you, please like and share with a friend who might need a reminder that drifting apart or being misunderstood doesn't mean that you've failed yourself. It just means that you're evolving. Until next time, keep shining, keep growing, keep grounding, keep evolving into the new version of you that you want to be, not what somebody else wants you to be. And you're a work in progress every single day. You know, you get up in the morning, you're like, it's gonna be a good day. And it might not be, but say it's gonna be a good day. Things might happen. Doesn't mean that the whole day. And I have to give credit to a friend of mine, Hattie, who said this. She asked me if I was having a good day, and I said, no, not really. And she said, well, the day's not over. And I love that, and I think about that all the time, so thank you for that, Hattie. I think I will leave it at that. Catch you on the flip side. Much love and hugs. Have a great day.